Welcome into Mindset. I am Brad Barrett. Today we're going to be talking about winning the lottery.
And what
I'm just going to leave it at that. No, look, my dad.
Is this how to win the lottery?
This is how, no.
Cheat codes.
Cheat codes, right? No. So my dad won the lottery.
Awesome.
Pretty cool, right?
I love it.
Now, to be fair, I got to caveat that he won like 30 grand. 30 grand. It's still a lot of money, right?
It's a big bag.
Like, let's play a little fantasy. Let's play that car game where you're kind of just in traffic. You're not on your phone. You're just sitting there and you're like, man, what would I do with $1 million? So we're going to play a little fantasy here. But here's the thing. If you do end up winning the lottery, you essentially have two options. You can take the annuity, the lifetime payout, or the lump sum. We're going to talk about those because I think it's interesting to go down. It tells you a little bit about money theory. And there's a little bit of a trick and a tip I'm going to give you here at the end. So stay tuned because I think it's important for you to kind of hear this kind of stuff.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a fun one. If you won the lottery today, what would you do? What was your first thing you would do?
First thing?
Be honest. The world's watching.
Buy a boat.
You know what a boat stands for?
Yeah. Broken.
Bust out another 1,000.
Yeah.
Just constantly.
But I'm a millionaire now, so I don't care.
It's true. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Well, I would want to win
First thing.
$10 million or $1 billion.
I'm sorry. You have a specific, you're
Yeah.
requiring.
Yeah,
there's a
no,
certain-
I want a limit now. I think I would pay off my mom's house.
Ooh.
Wait, that's the first thing?
Yeah.
What a good daughter.
Boring.
No, I love her house, and she deserves it. And then I would get
See?
a ranch in Santa Barbara.
Well, you
And
thought this out.
Yeah. And I would get a horse and a cow. And then I would get a penthouse in New York. And then I would
Okay.
get one of those American Airlines, like fly however much you want, those lifetime passes.
Okay.
They still do those?
Why don't you get your own plane?
They canceled it.
Because I don't want to deal with the fuel and then hiring a pilot and all that stuff.
Hassle.
Yeah. Such a hassle.
You're really burning through this.
Yeah.
That's actually great because you're leading right into my stat I'm going to bring up here. So get this. First and foremost, we should talk about some of the odds. Now, you've heard these before, but let's just talk about it, okay? The odds of winning the lottery are 1 in 300 million. Think about that for a second.
That's
I did the math on the calculator because it's so many zeros. You know, like the calculator spits out like the E9 with zeros. It's like 0.00000. I mean,
When you have an E, it's like
when you have an E, like
it's
forget it,
fine.
right?
a lot.
So, okay. Sorry, my first plug. The probability of a positive return in the stock market over a 1-year period is around 70 to 75% based on historical data. And it goes upwards towards 90, 95 and higher when you get longer term, like 10 years in the market.
So you're starting out.
I'm just saying.
You're starting at our episode about dreaming about winning the lottery by saying,
I know.
don't play the lottery.
Your dreams are crushed.
Look,
you're more likely to
so-
be struck by lightning.
Be smart and play stock. Don't
That's
buy
my
lottery
plug.
tickets.
But now let's have some fun. You heard my fiduciary in me.
You got to
Now-
do it because you're
I
responsible.
have to. I'm a responsible human being. I care about you all and your money. Okay, so here's a story I want to bring up because a little bit about me, upbringing. So my dad notoriously, when we were picked up from school, which he picked us up maybe once, twice a week when I was a kid, can't remember, but we would go to this liquor store and I would always get a Natural Geyser, like those sparkling flavored waters. It was like a big treat for the week, right? And he'd always get, and it's a beef jerky. I always love beef jerky. And he would always get a lotto ticket. And for as long as I can remember, week in and week out, he had a lotto ticket, okay? Now, about 2 months ago, I'm at dinner with we were golfing. My dad and I were golfing. He was saying, hey, I won the lottery. Now, the way he said it was so cavalier. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what? He goes, yeah. And so, again, I'm not a lottery guy. I've never played it, not once. But he played something where it's like the Powerball or something like that, where it's like you get 5 numbers.
The big one.
The big one, right? So he got 4 out of the 5. And it was a smaller pot or whatever. So his 4 was like $30-something thousand, which was crazy, right? It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. But if he got he missed it by 1 ball, right? If he got it the 5th one or whatever it was like 30-something million.
Powerball.
Oh my god.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting, and this is why I mentioned this out, okay? On average, I'm gonna talk about the 2 options, but on average, 90% of the people take the lump sum payout. Why do you think that is?
I would.
Why would you?
I don't trust that whoever's giving me money is
It's
still going to be
always
around.
trust issues.
We need to go.
Have you sorted that out?
We have some things we need to dissect with Jared.
Okay.
First of all, a bird in hand is
I agree.
better than a bird in someone else's hand, or however it goes.
I tend to agree. What would you do?
I think I would take lump sum because I am not like a wild spender, so I would trust myself
Okay.
to not blow it.
That's a
But if I
very mature.
wasn't, I would take annuity payments.
See, here's the thing. If you weren't, you would probably still take the lump sum because you want it now to do those things.
Right.
More interesting enough, and this is where I want to get into this, is there was a stat that says that nearly 1/3 of all lottery winners will eventually declare bankruptcy. Now, let me clarify this. That means basically a little over 30% will declare bankruptcy. But what I also know from experience as well and seeing some stats is the majority spend it all. They may not declare bankruptcy, but they're going to spend it all. Right? So let's talk about this because it does, forget the lottery for a second. A lot of times I have clients that come in that have pension programs they work for 35, 40 years, and the pension program allows them two options, right? CalSTRS is one of the largest pensions in the country. Actually, it's not the largest, right? Happens to be here in California, and I work with a lot of teachers, a lot of people who are in part of that system, county firemen, policemen, so on. And they have an option, potentially to take the lump sum or lifetime income. And I always map it out for them, and I want you guys to hear this because it's really important. So let's talk about the pros and cons of lump sum versus annuity. We good with that? Let's
go. Yep.
Okay. So lump sum, pretty simple. You get it all one time immediately. Okay. Investment potential. That's the big one that I talk about because there is an investment potential with this if you do it right. If you then reinvest that, buying properties, businesses, even building a portfolio around it, you can make some of that back up and have it pay you as well. Right.
So question on that. So if I come to a financial advisor with that, let's say I'm bringing $50 million win. I took the lump sum. That's not all going to go into like a stock or brokerage account. Or do you split that up and say?
Yeah. So just because you won the lottery or those kind of things doesn't mean it all goes into something you're investing. We want to start looking at paying down debt, maybe helping some family members out, which is a beautiful thing, right? With their situation, which is invaluable, right? That doesn't show up on a scorecard of, internal rate of return or whatever, but that's just family dynamics, right? But there should be this point I'm making of investment potential, there should be some portion of this that has some investments to it so you're making back and the longevity of this money still lasts for you.
Yeah, but
what if you win this money when you're 30 years old?
But you can't
The dream.
The dream.
You can't put $50 million in an IRA.
No.
So you start one of those, but then that's all going into some kind of like investment.
Yeah, it'll be an after-tax brokerage account.
A brokerage.
That's what we talked about in the last week's show, right? We talked about after-tax brokerage accounts when it comes to like tax filings and things like that.
So that's really, you'd be putting that, and then your financial advisor would then
help with real estate transactions, real estate as appreciation, diversify it all for sure.
How much would you get for like fun money?
Whatever you want. I mean, theoretically, I always tell my clients like, my job here is to be your co-pilot in the car. You own the car and you're driving.
Sure.
Yeah, but if
I've been down this road before, so you're just kind of I'm helping you navigate it and letting you know what's up.
So would you be like, 1 to 3%?
For you, I'd be like,
$10.
$10. You get $10 a month. That $1 billion is going elsewhere.
And then I'll go find another financial advisor. Yeah.
Bingo.
Okay.
So those are the pros. Get it all immediately, large amount, and investment potential with that larger lump sum.
Sounds great.
Okay, here's the cons. The cons is you only receive 40 to 50% of the original value.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you have taxes on that.
Lump sum, when you do taxes, depending on your state,
It takes a lot.
and then the fact that you get a lower percentage, you could probably get half
Yeah.
to maybe even 40% of the initial win.
Yeah, it's usually 40 to 50%. And right now, the federal taxes on prize money is 24%. And if you're in a state like New York, their state income tax is also 8.82%. So you're paying that on top.
So 30% off, and you're getting, you're getting a small fraction.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Let's say you won $1 billion. There was remember like a year ago, the guy won like 1.3 billion or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
You do the math on that, and he goes, "I'm still gonna net out like $500 million."
Yeah.
Right.
At that point,
You know what I mean? Here's where I come in though: is you are more likely psychologically, and stats show it, to spend all that when it is bird in the hand.
yeah.
It's like a burning hole in your pocket. You've heard that saying before.
Yeah.
Literally, if there's a psychological pressure and this risk of basically mismanagement that's going on, which is totally valid, totally real.
Yeah.
Okay? So you have to know yourself a little bit here.
Especially if you have a money disorder.
Go back to our old video.
A couple weeks ago, look at that video. That can really hinder
Very
you.
much so.
You might want to take all this out of your own hands.
Okay. The annuity. Now, just to be clear, when I say that word, annuity by definition just means periodic payment. So for those of you who listened earlier when I say annuity, they think, oh, the product. No, I'm not even talking
I would say annuity has a bad reputation.
It does.
And people hear annuity they're like, no.
Correct. What we're talking about is an annuity or a lifetime income. So here's the pros, right? You have a steady income stream, one you can count on, okay?
Love that.
All right. Tax deferral, meaning you're getting the whole amount versus the 40 to 50%. And you're only taxing the amount received every year versus the higher amount.
So that'll
Make sense?
Yeah. You're taxing that per year when you do your taxes that year. Gotcha.
Correct. And I would add this, that, the other pro, if you will, to this is there's financial stability kind of like built into this scenario.
Yeah.
Right. Because you only have that amount every year to live off of. This is kind of forced income in a way.
Right.
So it
forced budgeting.
Okay. Some of the cons here. Some of the cons, to Jared's point, there's no, Jared loves control.
I don't know.
And trusting yourself versus someone else.
Yes.
There's no
trust,
full control.
not control. I don't trust other people or organizations.
So you have it all in the cons here is there's no full control or flexibility. You're rigid on the amounts. That's it, right? Yeah. Your dependence on payer stability. So you got to assume that in our state, the California state's going to hold true to their
doesn't go bankrupt and cancel
Correct.
Everything.
There should be some recourse on that because it is an obligation, but at the same time, it is what it is, right?
Trust the government.
Interestingly enough, you're only allowed to name one beneficiary.
I had a lot of deep thought into this.
I didn't know that.
Interesting, right?
I was like, if I won the lottery, who would my beneficiary be? And then I was like, would it be
I'm sorry.
Dylan?
Why?
Not your husband?
Yeah, hold on. Dylan, I'm defending you here, bro.
Hold on. Let me tell you
the
my
fact that you had to think about this,
No.
though.
Hold on, okay?
Dilly Bar.
I was like, Dilly Bar and I are together all the time. So I was like, what if we both died in a car accident? My mom couldn't get the money?
That is the stat there. It's interesting, right? Because when you get the lump sum, you can set up a trust and a whole bunch of fun things you can do. You can put whoever you want on there, or whatever percentage.
But it is an important thing. I mean, you do have to think about if you have kids, well, I can only give it to one, and do I trust them to share it? And
what if they're greedy?
Yeah.
And I put this on there, and I don't know if it's a con under annuity or not per se, but there's technically you have less opportunity for wealth growth in this scenario. Now, I'd have to map this out mathematically depending on the age to which you receive this, because there's some factors in here that come into play, right? If you're 30 and won the lottery, it's a little bit different of a scenario than if you're 80.
Right.
Okay, and that's true of a lot of money issues we deal with, right, or money topics, because age and time, as I say, is kind of a main factor here.
Yeah.
So this would play into this a little bit, but theoretically, if you're only receiving the annual, you have a little bit less opportunity for wealth growth because you can't redeploy the lump sum, the annuity like you can the lump sum.
Right.
So there's this, what we call in economics, this opportunity cost of the if then, kind of what you would do if you didn't have the other one. And so, that comes out there. And that's one of the things I want people to consider when about the lottery is your age and time.
I mean, legitimate concern, especially if you're not getting 500 million and you're getting, let's say, $1 million.
Yeah.
2 million, where you might need that time.
Correct.
I think my answer might change if it was a lesser money. I might take an annuity.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. The break point on that, let's say it was $10 million, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you're, early 40s, right? You're like, okay, I got 40 years left here. I mean, if I were to take it, it is true. There is a point to this where it's like on 10 million, use that number, right? Which just sounds crazy because that's a lot of money. But nowadays, if I said 10 million, it's like, isn't that weird?
Well, when you asked, you were like $1 million. I was like, okay. Like,
See,
it's not even an amount
so
worth getting.
snubby.
When I graduated,
No, but it's
You're
true.
right. You're all right.
That
When I
can't even get you a
graduated-
house here.
It's true. But there is a point. It'd be interesting to talk about this because I don't know what the break-even point there is. But use 10 million, right? Because the lump sum, remember, plug these numbers in. Remember, you're only getting 40 to 50% of that. So let's call it $5 million. Sure. Then you got to pay taxes on that entire $5 million. Okay? So right there, you're whittled down. Then you got to make that, let's call it $3 million net, right? Work for you for however long. Versus, now I'd have to run the scenario on the numbers on that because the numbers typically pay out where it's longevity. Usually it's a 4 to 5% distribution. So you think about that. Let's call it, what is that? That's $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
So $500,000 a year, potentially for life, okay? At 20 years, your break even, 20 times 5% is 100%. So at 20 years, your break even, then every dollar there forward, right, is profit. So my point is, if you're early 40s and you can assume you're going to be here around in your 60s and beyond, that's what I'm talking about.
Or you can hope.
Well, we're not God here, but but I'm saying like you can make a pretty good probability case, right? If you want it in your 30s and 40s, that, and especially on the specific number, once you get to a certain number, it's kind of like, yeah, that's the definition of, pardon my French, but it's kind of FU money where it's just like,
right.
Who gives a rip, right?
600 million or 500 million, it's like whatever.
Now, this is where I talk about one of the pros when it comes to lump sum is the investment opportunity.
Yeah.
We can invest that and grow that. And then you start compounding interest. You're still working, so it still can play out for you, right?
Right.
But I do think, at some point you're kind of like, okay, what gives?
Yeah.
But so you can see time and age is a huge deal. So when you're daydreaming in the car and thinking about this, think about it whether you want it right now where you're at in the age or you want it 20 years from now. Because it will likely, to your point, change how you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I would want it in my 40s. I feel like
you have enough discipline.
I don't know. I feel like not having money in your 20s builds character.
I agree. It definitely builds maturity enough to understand what that money is and appreciate it more.
Interesting you say that, because I have some things as we end here on this, as things to consider. If you do win the lottery, or if you're thinking about and praying that you win the lottery or whatever, first and foremost, I would argue, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but like if that's you right now, there's a lot of things you can do that have higher probability that will work probably more successfully by just getting to work and doing it. Paying off your debt, living within your means, putting some money aside to you know what I mean? Yeah. This probability is really low. But hey, we're having some fun today.
We're dreaming
here, right? Investment knowledge and financial discipline are really key things other than age and the time period of which you win this potentially that come into play here. If you are somewhat financially illiterate or only have a very small basis, you're only going to know that world. So you have two choices. You either lean into that and continue down this path and become one of the stat here that's going to financially file bankruptcy, which is likely the case, or you say, you know what? I don't know enough and I'm wise enough to admit that to myself and I want to go and seek counsel. That's when you call someone like me or an advisor that you can trust and build a reputation with and be like, here's the deal. I won this money. My financial acumen is about this, right? And here's what I got going on. How can you make sure to ensure that I don't waste this money?
Yeah, mindset pro tip. If you win the lottery, big monies, first thing you should do is not buy anything, but take a beat.
It's true.
And talk to somebody.
Agreed, 100%.
Take a beat.
And as fun as that is to say and joking in this conversation, it's also very dead serious.
Very dead serious.
Like I made the joke earlier on the show, like, what would you guys buy right away? And I was hoping when you say nothing, I'd come talk to you.
Oh, come on.
You failed the test.
Come on.
You failed the test.
You have to ruin everything fun.
That's a lottery for you right there. So I hope you win it. I really do. Here's some other tips I would say. First and foremost, please don't spend money that otherwise could be used elsewhere. Like, hear me out. I know it sounds small, but the $5 a week you're spending on that ticket, that's $20 a month. That could be paying down some debt. I know you're like, Brad, I got a $10,000 credit card, really $20 a month. Hey, look, it adds up. Is it more fun? Probably not, but it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed to put money towards the down payment of it.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not fun, but it's higher probability.
At the end of the day, be smart.
Be smart. But you know what? We're not about being smart all the time. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
I hope you win the lottery. If you do, please take some of these things into consideration. Have some fun with it. Dream on it. But think about some of the dream you're doing, the things you want to do. You can still do some of those things. So like, have some fun within the dream. Like say, hey, you know what? I do want to help my mom pay that house down. Maybe it's that paramount to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like that.
And if you do, reach out to Mindset. We'll help you spend it.
You two will. I fiduciarily.
Share the wealth.
Yeah,
share the wealth. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed that today. We did. As always, thank you to our subscribers. We love you guys. And if you're new to our channel, we come out with weekly videos. You can also follow us at Mindset with Brad Barrett on our socials. And as always, until next week, if you lead with love, it's going to be all right. See you guys. Six, 7.
No. Embarrassing.
Embarrassed that I did that?
I'm.
You don't live in a household with a 10 and 8-year-old who are constantly telling me, and I have yet to hear what that means. I digress.
It doesn't mean anything.
We're gonna move on that.
We'll come back because I asked a young person about this the other day.
I've asked both my kids, and neither one of them can tell me what it is.
I'll tell you
But
after show.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.